Snark Squad. Babes, we need to talk. Because we've actually been
really enjoying this season, honestly.
like truly enjoying the season of Survivor. But we have one gripe, and it is a major one.
Huge.
Why is it always, and I mean always in Fiji?
I am so glad you brought this up because it is making me crazy.
Like, babes, it is every single season. The exact same beach, the exact same trees, the exact same suffering. I feel like I am literally losing my mind.
It is the definition of, like, geographical monotony. I swear to you, I recognized a specific, slightly bent palm tree in the background of Emily's confessional last night.
Shut up. You did not.
I really did. I was looking at my screen like, oh, there's the tree that Boston Rob leaned against 5 years ago. It's getting entirely ridiculous.
It is fully given Groundhog Day, but like with more sand and less Bill Murray. I am genuinely confused and profoundly annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, are they just recycling B-roll footage of the ocean at this point?
Right. Why are we trapped in Fiji? I need to know what is going on. Is it like a tax thing? Is the Fijian government just paying them to stay?
Well, I mean, let's look at the actual economics of it.
Yeah.
Outside of the sheer logistics and, the cost efficiency of staying in one spot.
Which I'm sure is massive.
Oh, it is. But there is a massive incentive with the Fijian government providing almost a 50% tax rebate for film and television production.
Wait, 50%? That is insane.
It is an astronomical amount of money saved. The infrastructure is permanently built. They have their base camps, their catering, their massive production tents with high-speed internet.
So they basically live in a city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically a massive, well-oiled Hollywood studio lot that just, happens to be on a tropical island.
Okay, I get the math. I understand capitalism. But what about the vibes? Survivor used to be about surviving vastly different, culturally distinct elements.
Yeah, the location was basically a character.
Yes. The vibes are stagnant. Jeff Probst probably just bought a massive luxury property there, so his commute is easy. I bet he takes a little electric golf cart from his villa down to tribal council.
With an iced macchiato in his hand.
Literally. While these people are out here chewing on tree bark.
Oh, absolutely. He's wearing his little perfectly pressed cargo shirts, commuting 3 minutes from a 5-star resort, probably getting a hot stone massage before he yells, "Come on in."
I can literally picture it.
But to your point about the vibes, rotating locations used to be the entire narrative engine of the show. Think about the historical context.
Right, like the old seasons.
Remember when they went to the absolute misery of the Florida swamps?
Yeah.
Or the Louisiana bayou where it was just mud and humidity?
Oh my God, the bugs in the bayou.
Or the Caramon Islands in the Philippines?
Yeah.
You had distinct beaches, different survival challenges, unique cultural themes that actually informed the game design.
Now it's just like, welcome back to the exact same beach where someone cried last season. Please try to act surprised.
Exactly. So tired.
Because when you hear Fiji, babes, you do not think, oh my God, how am I going to survive this terrifying, God-forsaken landscape?
No, you think of a honeymoon.
You immediately think, vacation, holiday, mimosas at brunch, let's get a cabana and a pool boy. It does not give desperate survival. It gives corporate retreat gone slightly wrong.
Right. But, I mean, we have to separate the aesthetic from the physical reality.
Yeah.
An infinite paradise without electrolytes is just a picturesque hell.
A picturesque hell. Wow.
You're basically hungover for 26 days straight, but on camera, it just looks like a sandals resort where everyone miraculously lost their luggage and their razors.
Which brings me to my next point, actually. Let's be honest. Would we ever get tired of paradise? Because, babes, we are exhausted just watching this season from our couches.
Extremely exhausted.
So, like, would we actually get tired of it?
Look at the physiological breakdown happening on that screen. Of course we would. The reality of that paradise is horrific.
It really is. I'm spiraling just thinking about it.
Think about the cognitive load of functioning in that heat. The unrelenting 100-degree humidity where the air is so thick you literally have to chew it before you breathe.
Stop. I am sweating just hearing that.
And when you are severely dehydrated, your brain tissue physically shrinks. Your decision-making centers completely misfire. That paradise is actively making them dumber by the hour.
See, because think about the surface level horrors too. The perpetual sunburns, your skin is just peeling off in sheets, and you have absolutely no skincare routine.
None. Zero.
No hyaluronic acid, no vitamin C serums, no deep moisturizers, no SPF 50, nonstop dehydration, hangovers with absolutely zero Gatorade to save you.
And no shade?
No shade. Like, babes, what about an infinite paradise would actually ruin us? Because I would simply evaporate on day one. I would turn into dust.
For me, it's the bugs. we do not talk enough about the fan fleas.
Oh, yes.
You're sitting there on this beautiful, pristine white sand, having what you think is a brilliant strategic conversation, and invisible microscopic demons are actively eating your ankles alive.
That is my literal nightmare.
Plus, the sheer lack of physical comfort. You're sleeping on bamboo. Bamboo is just round, unforgiving wood that actively hates the human spine.
It looks so painful.
You are waking up every 45 minutes. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. You are starving. It's not a vacation. It's a physiological hostage situation with exceptionally good lighting.
A hostage situation. That is exactly what it is. Okay, reality check. We need a massive palate cleanser from that mental image because my sympathetic nervous system is acting up.
Deep breaths.
Let's do our rose and thorn from today, because speaking of exhaustion, midweek at the dental practices was an absolute journey.
Midweek clinical exhaustion is a very specific, deeply existential type of tired.
It really is.
It's the kind of tired where you stare at a panoramic X-ray and question every single life choice that led you to looking inside the mouths of stressed-out strangers for a living.
Literally. Okay, I'll go first. My thorn. Babes, it was a disaster. I had a patient today who came in for a completely standard crown prep.
Okay, simple enough.
Simple, easy. I've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But this man had a tongue that possessed a sentient mind of its own.
Oh no, not the rogue tongue.
It was like a rogue, muscular eel fighting me, my mirror, and the high-speed suction the entire time. He kept trying to talk to me while the drill was literally running.
Why do they always try to talk when the drill is on?
I don't know. I am sweating. My assistant is actively sweating. The eel tongue is dodging the drill like Neo in the Matrix. I literally had to stop, take a deep breath, step back, and pray to the dental gods for patience.
Because you were about to lose it.
I was 1 millisecond away from just walking out of the operatory and driving home.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like a defensive reflex where they think they need to help you by aggressively pushing the mirror away.
Yes. Like, sir, please.
Like, sir, please. I went to dental school for 4 years. I understand the oral cavity. Your tongue does not have a DVS. Please let it rest.
Thank you. It was terrifying. I was holding my breath the entire time.
Oh.
But my rose was finally clocking out, stepping into the actual sunshine, realizing I successfully survived the eel tongue without causing bodily harm.
A major victory.
And knowing we were recording this tonight, what about you? Give me the shade. What was the absolute worst part of your Wednesday?
Well, my thorn is slightly more interpersonal. Let's just say a certain coworker, who shall absolutely remain nameless to protect the guilty, has decided that the sterilization room is her personal stage for off-key Broadway auditions.
Stop it right now.
I'm sitting at my desk, trying to review complex endodontic files and plan a highly sensitive root canal, and all I hear is a pitchy, violently sharp rendition of Defying Gravity echoing over the mechanical hum of the ultrasonic cleaner.
Oh my God, I would have completely short-circuited.
It's a biohazard, and frankly, it is an auditory hazard.
You cannot mix musical theater with sterilization. That is a crime.
I nearly did short circuit. I just stood up and stared at her through the glass partition, unblinking, until she slowly, awkwardly stopped singing.
The power move.
It was a silent battle of wills, and I won. But my rose was getting into my car, turning the AC on full blast and leaving that building entirely in my rearview mirror.
Honestly, incredibly valid, let's be real. One thing that makes us very happy to not be on Survivor right now.
Our drinks.
Our drinks. Babes, we've got tequila pineapples on deck, and yes, they are absolutely everything.
They really are. The precise ratio of a smooth, slightly smoky Blanco tequila cutting through the super sweet, acidic bite of the pineapple juice.
It is heaven.
It's the only tropical delusion I am willing to participate in today.
It strictly beats boiling island well water. Imagine drinking water that tastes like dirt, ash, and desperation, served completely hot in a dirty communal canteen.
Disgusting.
No, thank you. I will take my ice-cold tequila pineapple with a cute little lime garnish any day of the week. It masks the midweek depression perfectly.
It gives you the island aesthetic without the sand fleas, the starvation, and the emotional manipulation. It's the civilized, emotionally stable way to experience Fiji.
Exactly. Okay, but we need to talk about something else that happened today. Because earlier today, we went to Crumble Cookie.
Oh boy.
And babes, we need to talk.
We do. We really do. Because from a purely biological and architectural standpoint, I have deep structural questions.
I am fully influenced. I am openly admitting it. I am obsessing over the vibes, the massive pink boxes, the sheer unadulterated size of these cookies.
They are massive.
We walked in And the smell alone was intoxicating. It was like a warm, aggressive hug of butter, sugar, and capitalism. We got the classic milk chocolate chip, the chilled pink sugar, which is a lifestyle, by the way, some kind of caramel monstrosity, and a peanut butter cup one.
They're not cookies.
Babes, they are miniature, dense cakes disguised as cookies to make us feel better about eating them in our cars.
See, I'm questioning the entire psychological hype machine behind this brand. I ate it, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not a monster, and I love sugar.
Obviously.
But I am sitting there analyzing it like, should a single cookie realistically be 1,000 calories?
Yeah.
The structural integrity of the cookie can barely support the sheer volume of frosting they spackle onto it.
It is so much frosting.
It's not a snack. It's a long-term metabolic commitment. You eat 1/4 of it, and your pancreas immediately starts sending out distress signals to your central nervous system.
Okay, but the flavors. The chilled pink sugar frosting is literally addictive. I don't care about my pancreas today. My pancreas can handle itself. It is a strong, independent organ.
If you say so.
And apparently, they let you have 6 cookies for free if you talk about them on social media. So here we are. But UT, babes, this is not a sponsored show.
Definitely not.
Crumble, if you want to sponsor us, slide into our DMs immediately. We are available. We are easily bought with baked goods.
We are cheap dates when it comes to massive amounts of refined sugar. Let's be explicitly clear about that. But yes, not sponsored. Just fueled by an alarming amount of frosting and tequila.
The best combo.
Which honestly is the perfect transition. The sheer delusion of thinking a single crumble cookie won't alter your body chemistry perfectly mirrors the absolute chaos, the intense delusion, and the completely unhinged decision-making we just witnessed on this week's episode of Survivor 50.
Oh my God, the transition. Flawless. Hang it in the Louvre. Babes, we have to get into this recap. Let's talk about double the fun, double the demise.
It was a lot.
Because the absolute cinema of this episode, I am still recovering. I had to pause the TV 3 separate times just to catch my breath.
It was essentially 30 days of intense, slow-burn gameplay, aggressively packed into a 45-minute psychological thriller. Let's start right at the beginning, the immediate fallout of Dee's exit.
Yes, let's start there.
Because the sheer volume of unchecked ego on that beach was radiating through my television screen and practically burning my retinas.
I was so incredibly emotional reacting to Dee Valladares being the first juror. Dee, our season 45 winner, our cutthroat queen, sitting there on the jury bench, and she was eating it up.
She really was.
She was in the jury box with an ear-to-ear smile, absolute cinema. She looked amazing. Her hair was perfectly swooped. Her skin was glowing, and you could tell she was just thoroughly enjoying not having to sleep on bamboo and pretend to like Coach anymore.
She was absolutely radiating with, like, I already won $1 million, I have my title, so I genuinely do not care about your petty squabbles energy.
Exactly.
But back at camp, the cognitive dissonance was staggering. Coach is walking around, taking 100% of the credit for Dee's blindside.
He is so annoying.
He's strutting the beach, his feathers fully ensconced in his mane, literally acting like a mythical warrior who just single-handedly slayed a dragon with a butter knife.
The Dragon Slayer is back, babes, and he is deeply, profoundly insufferable. And the worst part is Jonathan from season 42, Mr. I am a physical god who can carry a boat with my teeth, is also delusionally trying to claim the exact same ego boost.
I know. It's wild.
He's walking around acting like he masterminded the whole strategic split vote. The two of them were just in a pure, unadulterated alpha male flex-off over who lied to a woman better.
It's fascinating from a psychological standpoint because Jonathan actively wants to keep Coach's ego in check, right? He recognizes Coach is a liability. But Jonathan's own narcissistic need to be recognized as a mastermind is completely blinding him to his own lack of social capital. They both think they are running the board. But Coach's total lack of accountability during the confrontation is what blew my analytical mind.
Oh my God, the confrontation.
He made the move, right? He orchestrated the split vote. He should own it.
Yeah.
But when confronted, he completely folds under pressure.
I was screaming at my TV, spilling my tequila. Tiffany, who is an absolute powerhouse and does not suffer fools, fully corners Coach.
She doesn't hold back.
She asks him point blank to his face, you told me you didn't push for my name, so who threw my name out? And Coach, babes, Coach literally froze.
He shut down.
He completely short-circuited. He gave 0 answers, just a blank, terrified stare. Girl, bye.
It was incredible to watch. We talk about the fight, flight, or freeze response in high-stress situations. This man calls himself the Dragon Slayer. He quotes philosophers and ancient warriors. He talks about honor and integrity. And when a woman from New Jersey asks him a simple, direct question, his amygdala gets hijacked and his brain completely reboots.
The silence was deafening.
It really was.
Well, wait, if he's supposed to be this seasoned veteran, why didn't he just lie?
Because lying requires cognitive flexibility, which he completely lost in that moment. He could have easily thrown anyone under the bus. He could have said, oh, it was Jonathan, he went rogue, or Stephen, he was panicking.
Yeah, just give a name.
That's basic survivor deflection.
Yeah.
But his ego is so tied to being an honorable player that being caught in a direct lie broke his internal narrative. He couldn't compute.
Babes, you are the dragon slayer. Make up a lie, sing a haiku. Doing the silent treatment while, in his own words from later in the episode, your pores ooze betrayal, is a massive, unforgivable fumble. Tiffany looked at him like he was a defective, broken animatronic at a rundown Chuck E. Cheese. She literally said in her confessional, as far as I'm concerned, that relationship is dead and done and buried. You do not cross Tiffany.
You really don't. And right as the camp dynamics are completely fracturing over this silent treatment, a boat arrives. Day 16. A massive boat pulls up with tree mail, and everything completely shatters because Jeff Probst decides to drop the Tide Destiny's twist.
It's a twist.
Or, as they uncreatively called it, the double duo twist. Let's break this down analytically because the game theory mechanics of this twist are wild.
The mechanics were insane. Okay, so there are 13 players left.
Right. And Probst drops this highly specific statistic that 63% of fans voted for twists this season. And he is weaponizing that exact statistic against us.
He is such a troll.
I read this brilliant review that analyzed this perfectly. Voting for twists in general is like asking a chef for dessert. You hope you're going to get a warm, perfectly baked apple pie a la mode. But instead, Jeff hands you a nasty, soggy, twice-used coffee filter tiramisu.
Ew.
Like that Blood Moon twist earlier this season. Just gross, unnecessary, and bitter.
I am dying at twice-used coffee filter tiramisu. That is so incredibly accurate. We want fun, strategic twists, not twists that randomly punish people for literally just existing on the beach.
Exactly.
But even though we usually hate this stuff, both of us actually agree on this one, right? This twist was kind of incredible.
It really was. Because unlike a random rock draw that just screws someone over, this twist forced actual social capital to be spent. The risk calculus changed entirely.
So true.
13 players. The tribe has to publicly divide themselves into 6 pairs, which mathematically means one person is sitting out. They decide to draw from the shot in the dark bag to see who gets the odd rock out, and Cirie draws the bad rock.
Mother Cirie, sent to Exile Island. But we will absolutely get to her heroic journey in a second. Let's talk about these pairs first, because, babes, these were some truly gruesome twosomes.
They really were.
I was throwing so much shade at my screen while they were picking each other.
Let's hear the rundown. Analyze these partnerships for me.
Okay, we have Jonathan and Christian, the ultimate jock and nerd dynamic, which is cute but highly volatile.
Very.
We have Chrissy and Coach, the Dragon Slayer and the Dragon Slayer Whisperer, absolute disaster waiting to happen. Ozzy and Tiffany, the old school massive physical threats who probably just bonded over doing pull-ups.
Absolutely did.
Joe and Tiffany. Emily and Rizzo, can we just talk about the sheer diva energy of those two? The eye rolls alone could power a small city. And finally, Aubrey and Devens, the middle floaters who everyone is terrified of for literally no reason.
The stakes introduced here were brilliant from a game theory perspective. Jeff explains that at Tribal Council they will all vote individually in the booth. However, they are voting for a pair.
A whole pair.
An entire pair goes home together as collateral damage. Your fate is entirely tethered to your partner's social standing. If you win immunity, you both win. If someone plays a hidden immunity idol, it acts as an umbrella and protects the pair. As Probst so dramatically put it, double the stakes, double the decisions, double the consequences.
It was so stressful because if you are paired with someone who is universally hated like Coach, you are immediate collateral damage. Chrissy was visibly panicking. You could see the color drain from her face.
She was tied to a sinking anchor, and the anchor was busy singing made-up Gregorian chants in the hammock. But before we get to the fallout of the immunity challenge, we have to talk about the Exile Island journey.
Babes, Cirie on Exile Island broke me. I was openly weeping into my pink sugar crumble cookie box.
It was an absolute masterclass in narrative editing, but also a gruelingly difficult task. The twist was that she's immune from the pair vote, but she loses her vote entirely unless she can complete a physical task.
And what a task. She rolls up to this desolate beach and it is covered in coconuts. 2 6,000 coconuts.
So necessary.
And she has to find one specific coconut with a tiny phoenix tattoo painted on it in the blazing 100-degree heat before an hourglass timer completely runs out.
Which is mathematically and physiologically absurd. Let's break down the actual labor of 2,000 coconuts. Think about the physical toll of bending down, picking up a heavy object, rotating it, inspecting it, and discarding it.
My back hurts just thinking about it.
Let's conservatively say it takes 3 seconds per coconut. That's 6,000 seconds. That's over an hour and 40 minutes of pure, back-breaking, repetitive manual labor in direct sunlight.
And no water.
Assuming you do not take a single water break and your brain doesn't succumb to what psychologists call the vigilance decrement.
Wait, what is that?
It's when your attention span literally degrades from doing the exact same task over and over, making you likely to miss the target entirely.
Honestly, I would have taken one look at that beach, found a slightly shady palm tree, taken a lovely nap, and accepted my fate.
Oh, without a doubt.
I would have looked directly into the camera and said, Jeff, keep my vote. I'm going to sleep. Wake me up when the boat gets back. But Cirie, the editors gave her the full, epic, cinematic hero's journey montage.
It was so incredibly heavy-handed. They were playing this sweeping, orchestral, Lord of the Rings style music. They acted like heroes versus villains Cirie never existed. Like she hasn't been a legendary, ruthless, physical and mental force for literally decades.
Right.
But I will admit, the confessional they paired it with was undeniably moving.
It was beautiful. She was crying from pure physical exhaustion, talking about how over the last 20 years, Survivor has given her so much profound confidence.
Yeah, that was great.
She went from the woman who was literally afraid of leaves in Panama to this absolute powerhouse. And when she quoted herself saying nothing on Survivor is impossible, and then actually found the Phoenix coconut right as the sand was running out,
Incredible timing.
I screamed. I literally screamed in my living room. She earned her vote back, she escaped exile, and she was heading back to camp with immense, unchecked power.
And power she absolutely needed, because back at the challenge, things were getting incredibly messy. Let's review this immunity challenge. It was a massive, multi-stage physical obstacle course ending in a highly complex table maze.
Classic Survivor.
And who comes out on top with a massive, mathematically improbable come-from-behind win? Joe and Tiffany.
Tiffany getting her first individual immunity necklace. I was so happy for her. After being aggressively targeted by Coach, she needed this. She earned this.
And they didn't just win safety, they won a reward. A private lunch away from the tribe. Wine, spaghetti, and tiramisu.
Okay, the tiramisu. Stephanie, unironically standing there saying, tiramisu's my favorite. Babes, earlier we were just calling Bad Twist soggy tiramisu, and then Jeff literally feeds them actual tiramisu.
The universe is so profoundly shady.
It really is.
The irony was incredibly thick. But what was even thicker was the spaghetti diplomacy happening at that reward. This is where Robert Cialdini's theories of influence and reciprocity come into play.
Okay, break that down.
Joe and Tiffany sit down, and Joe completely flips his entire game plan in the span of 24 hours because of the vulnerability of sharing a meal.
It gave me strategic whiplash. I had to rewind it.
He goes from literally writing Tiffany's name down the night before to save Coach, to sitting across from her over a plate of carbs, offering a complete link-up alliance. He tells her the absolute truth, admits he voted for her, and pitches that they take out the floaters, Devens and Aubrey. He's using the food and his honesty to try and trigger a reciprocal bond.
And Tiffany's response in her confessional was everything. She just looks at the camera, completely deadpan, and goes, "You wrote my name down, dummy."
So good.
She is sitting there eating his spaghetti, letting him think they are a tight, unbreakable alliance now, while fully planning to slit his throat in the game. It is icon behavior.
It's incredibly smart. You nod, you eat the carbs, you let the psychological principle of reciprocity make them feel safe, and you let them think they're in control. Because back at camp, it was pure, unadulterated chaos.
A total mess.
The social dynamics are entirely fractured. You have everyone terrified of the middle floaters, Aubrey and Devens, because they aren't firmly locked into a predictable voting block. Or you have people terrified of the big alliance coach, Chrissy, Jonathan, Stephanie, and Joe.
Right. So Ozzy and Rezo, who are basically the surviving lost remnants of Cirie's core group, are completely adrift without her. They are wandering around the beach like lost puppies.
Truly wise.
They are talking to Emily and Christian, and they convince themselves through sheer groupthink that Cirie would want to vote out Aubrey and Devens.
Which is such a fundamentally bad read on Cirie's game. Cirie does not care about the floaters right now. She wants the head of the snake. She always goes for the structural pillars of an alliance.
Exactly. And then the heavens open up. A boat appears on the horizon, and Mother Cirie returns to the beach. Babes, she rolled up on that boat like Thor arriving in Wakanda. The music swelled, the wind was perfectly blowing her hair, it was majestic.
It really was a cinematic arrival.
Yeah.
And she wastes absolutely no time. She steps off the boat, pulls Ozzy and Rizzo's side into the jungle, and instantly, surgically shuts down their terrible plan.
She literally tells them, you can get the middle anytime. We are voting out Chrissy and Coach. She just snapped them right out of their delusion. It was a masterclass in social influence.
Let's deeply analyze the strategy here because it's brilliant. Ozzy and Rizzo were about to make a fear-based, low-level move against the easy targets.
Right, playing it safe.
Cirie understands that you have a golden, mathematically rare opportunity, a literal mandated game mechanic, to take out two powerful, entrenched alliance members at the exact same time with a single vote. You do not waste a double elimination on Aubrey and Devens. You cut off the legs of the majority alliance while they are tied together.
But wait, play devil's advocate. Is it actually smart to keep unpredictable floaters over people like Coach, who are highly predictable in their arrogance?
Yes, because predictability means they have a rigid voting block. Coach and Chrissy will never vote with Cirie. Devens and Aubrey, because they are floaters, act as free agents that Cirie can scoop up later. It's about securing numbers for the next 3 votes, not just surviving tonight.
Okay, that makes sense. But it wasn't just smooth sailing for Cirie, because Chrissy is over there having a full-blown spiraling meltdown.
Oh, the paranoia was real.
She realizes she is tied to Coach, who is currently taking a nap in the hammock, singing Gregorian chants to himself. She knows they are massive targets, so what does she do? She panics, abandons all logic, and targets Rizzo.
Which is her fatal game-ending flaw. She thinks she's the Dragon Slayer Whisperer, but she is just waking up the actual dragons. She goes to Cirie and pitches voting out Rizzo.
And I love Rizzo's diva energy here. Word gets back to him that Chrissy is targeting him, and he just hits us with the confessional. You're targeting me, Chrissy. Girl, bye. The lore says people who target me don't make it out alive.
The lore, I literally can't with him. He is writing his own historical mythology in real time.
But Cirie defending him was everything. Chrissy pitches it, and Cirie's internal monologue is basically, do not come for my husband's lover. She shuts it down so fast, but with a smile.
Now, here's a question for you, as someone who watches the emotional reactions. Why are these new era players, and even some of the veterans, so incredibly stupid?
I ask myself this every week.
Why are they continually letting Cirie run the entire beach? She showed up late from Exile, changed the entire strategic target in 5 minutes, and everyone just nodded and said, yes, ma'am.
That's what I'm saying. Babes, she has played this game 5 times. How do you not look at her and see the biggest threat on the board?
Because her emotional IQ is unparalleled. It really is a masterclass in covert persuasion. Think of it like the movie Inception. She implants an idea so deeply and so softly that the target genuinely believes it was their own original thought.
Oh, that's such a good comparison.
She frames her strategic commands as if they were mutual organic realizations. She makes them feel like she's just looking out for their best long-term interest. She doesn't dictate, she guides with warmth. And she is so maternal that their natural psychological defenses just completely drop. It's terrifying and beautiful to watch.
It's true. They are like absolute moths to a flame. So the stage is set. Cirie has rallied the troops to target Coach and Chrissy. Joe is still aggressively trying to push for Devens and Aubrey, and this leads us to what I'm officially calling the Tribal Council of the Century.
It was pure, unadulterated reality TV gold. The atmosphere was incredibly tense, thick with paranoia.
Babes, I need to set the scene for the Snark squad. It is night. The fire is raging, the jury box is serving absolute looks, and the players just start spitting the most insane, unhinged quotes.
They are losing their minds.
What was in the water in Fiji this week? Aubrey quotes someone named War Dog from season 38, yelling, "The theme is not on trial." Then Coach, I swear to you, quotes Sigmund Freud about betrayal oozing out of pores.
And Joe aggressively quotes Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. It was like a slam poetry night at a highly competitive, beautifully lit psychiatric facility.
A psychiatric facility. I'm dying. But then it happens. The moment that cemented this episode in the reality TV Hall of Fame forever. Rick Devens.
Rick Devens executes one of the most brilliant, high-stakes psychological operations I have ever seen on this show. Let's break down exactly what he did, mechanistically.
He feels the heat, He knows his name has been heavily thrown around by Joe and that alliance. He literally stands up in the middle of tribal council.
And throw a volt.
He claims he found a clue to an idol that is hidden at tribal council. He walks over to the fire pit, digs his hands into the ash and sand, and pulls out a wrapped idol.
But here is the absolute genius part. It's a fake idol. And not just any hastily made fake idol. It's the highly convincing fake idol that he and Christian planted in that exact spot back in episode 2, 14 days ago.
Mind-blowing.
They laid a long-term psychological trap, and he finally sprang it perfectly.
The long con, I lost it over the reactions. The camera pans around, and Rizzo is fully fangirling over Devens. He was whispering, "That is cinema."
He wasn't wrong.
Dee is in the jury box, literally laughing her head off, thoroughly enjoying the show. The whispering erupts. Everyone is scrambling. A fully live, chaotic tribal council.
It completely derailed whatever cohesive plans were left. Let's look at the behavioral economics of this moment. People who are on the fence about voting for Devens and Aubrey suddenly experienced extreme risk aversion.
Right, because of the idol?
If Devens plays an idol, their votes bounce back, and someone else in the majority goes home as collateral. So they are forced to immediately scramble to a safe backup plan, which perfectly solidifies Cirie's plan to target Coach and Chrissy.
Okay, wait. Explain his lie to me. Because he didn't just pull it out and sit down. He added a whole complex layer of rules to it. Is that strategy, or is that just reckless luck disguised as a masterstroke?
It is pure strategy. This is where Devens proves he deeply understands the mechanics of survivor paranoia. He pulls it out, but he doesn't play it. He claims to Aubrey, loud enough for everyone to hear, that the rules and the clues state the idol must be snuck out of tribal council before it gains power.
Which is such a weirdly specific, complicated lie.
But it's perfect. By claiming it has to be snuck out, he creates a psychological shield of plausible deniability. It gives him a completely logical, game-sanctioned excuse for why he isn't playing it tonight to save himself and Aubrey.
Oh, wow.
If he just held it, looked nervous, and didn't play it, smart players would immediately deduce it's fake. But by giving it a complex fake rule, he covers his tracks. No one asks to see the parchment. No one calls his bluff. They just accept it as a weird, annoying season 50 twist.
It is brilliant. So the vote happens. Jeff asks the magic question if anyone wants to play an advantage. Coach, clearly feeling the betrayal violently oozing out of his pores, stands up and dramatically throws his shot in the dark.
A literal 1 in 6 statistical chance at safety for him and Chrissy.
He unfolds the scroll. Not safe. The look of pure, unadulterated rage on Chrissy's face. She knew she was collateral damage to his sinking ship.
The votes are red. It is an absolute landslide. 11 to 1 to 1. Coach and Chrissy are voted out. The dragon has been slayed, and the Whisperer went down screaming with him.
And I have to highlight Emily's reaction as they walk out, because it is everything to me. Everyone is doing the polite, fake survivor wave, saying goodbye, offering hugs, and Emily just sits there on the stump, arms firmly crossed, rolling her eyes entirely to the back of her head.
She is so real for that.
Iconic hater energy. I stan Emily so hard. She does not do fake pleasantries.
She really doesn't. She refuses to participate in the pageantry. And that wraps up an incredibly dense, game-shifting episode, which brings us perfectly into our analytical segments. We need to officially decree who won and who lost this week. Segment 1, Best Strategic Move.
Who actually played the game? Break it down for me.
Okay, I am going to react emotionally first, as always. For me, the best strategic move goes entirely to Mother Cirie.
Really? Over Devens' theatrical masterpiece?
Hear me out. Challenge me if you want, but Devens made a flashy TV moment, yes.
Yeah.
But Cirie literally survived by the skin of her teeth through sheer willpower and unparalleled social grace. She won immunity by sitting out, which is hilarious, winning by drawing a bad rock.
She then survived 2,000 coconuts in the blazing heat. She earned her vote back. She came back to a camp that was actively messing up her carefully laid plans, and in the span of maybe an hour, she single-handedly wrangled Ozzy and Rizzo, shut down Chrissy's paranoid targeting, and executed a massive game-changing blindside against the majority alliance without getting a single drop of blood on her hands.
She was busy.
Nobody is mad at Cirie. They are mad at each other. It's Cirie's world, Daves, and we're just paying rent.
It's a strong emotional argument. Her social manipulation is undoubtedly top tier. But analytically speaking, I push back. She didn't plan for 2,000 coconuts. She got bailed out by her own physical endurance. That's not strategy, that's just survival. I have to give best strategic move to Rick Devens.
Okay, explain the math to me. Why is theatrical lying better than social dominance?
It's about long-term setup and advanced psychological warfare. Planting a fake idol on day 2 purely on the off chance you might need to cause a catastrophic meltdown on day 16 is top-tier forward-thinking gameplay. He recognized the exact microsecond when the majority alliance was wavering. His name was being thrown out by Joe.
Okay, yes, the timing was good.
By pulling that fake idol, he didn't just cause chaos, he gave the middle voters a perfect, logical cover to explain why they shifted their votes to Coach and Chrissy.
Wait, what do you mean a cover? Like a scapegoat?
Exactly. Think of it like political scapegoating. If you are Ozzy or Joe and you openly betray your alliance to vote out Coach, people will be angry at your disloyalty. But Devens handed them a shield.
Oh, I see.
Now, they can go back to camp and say, I didn't want to vote for Coach, I love Coach, but Devens pulled on an idol, I got spooked, I had to shift my vote for self-preservation. Devens handed them the exact excuse they needed to hide their betrayal behind. That is next-level, multi-dimensional strategy.
Okay, that is actually so true. He gave them the psychological permission structure they needed to do what they already wanted to do. Oof, fine, you win with logic. But Cirie still has my heart. Okay, segment 2, worst decision. Who fumbled the hardest? Call it out. Because there were several highly qualified contenders.
There really were. The beach was littered with bad choices.
I am absolutely dragging Coach. I cannot let this go. When Tiffany confronted him, asking who pushed for her name, his reaction was the biggest fumble of the entire season.
The blank stare. The complete neurological shutdown.
Babes, you are the dragon slayer. You have built your entire brand over multiple decades on being an eccentric, quick-witted, philosophical warrior. Make up a lie, throw Jonathan completely under the bus.
Seriously.
Sing a haiku about how the wind told you to do it. Doing the silent treatment while you are actively being interrogated by a mob boss like Tiffany is a complete admission of guilt. He looked so incredibly weak and out of his depth. He isolated Tiffany completely, and that directly led to her being entirely willing to vote him out. A massive, massive fumble.
I agree. Coach handled that poorly. And we discussed the amygdala hijack, but I actually think the absolute worst decision belongs to Chrissy.
Chrissy, really? But she was tied to him. She was a victim of circumstance.
Think about the actual cause and effect. Chrissy correctly identified that Coach was actively sinking their ship. She literally begged Coach to stop singing, to sit in the hammock, and to just lay completely low. She tried to issue a gag order on him. That was smart. But then she let her own paranoia take the wheel.
Oh, when she targeted Rizzo.
Exactly. Instead of just sitting still and letting the target naturally fall on Devens and Aubrey, which Joe was actively pushing for with his spaghetti diplomacy, Chrissy gets deeply paranoid about Rizzo's idol history and targets him.
Big mistake.
By targeting Rizzo, she woke up the sleeping giant, Cirie. Cirie was not going to let Rizzo go. Chrissy's active decision to target Rizzo is what firmly cemented Cirie's resolve to vote out Chrissy and Coach. She thought she was the Dragon Slayer whisperer, controlling the game from the shadows, but her own unforced error and paranoia got her slayed.
She flew too close to the sun. She should have just sat in the hammock with Coach, closed her eyes, and kept her mouth entirely shut. Okay, segment 3, who's coasting?
Yeah.
Who's just like, there. Because I'm deeply frustrated.
Got the frustration out. Who was your ultimate coaster?
It physically pains me to say this, but it is Aubrey. Babes, I love her, I really do. Wrong Aubrey was a strategic, anxious mastermind, but production has had her wearing the exact same Nordstrom rack, clearance rack now. He is catching strays as the middle, while Devens does absolutely all of the heavy strategic lifting. Devens is planting fake idols, making grand speeches, causing live tribals, creating psychological shields. Aubrey is just standing next to him, looking perpetually stressed out. What is her agency in this game right now? She is coasting entirely on her historical reputation.
That's a harsh but extremely fair assessment. She is definitely riding shotgun right now, letting Devens take all the arrows. But analytically, I put my finger squarely at Jonathan.
Oh, Mr. Alpha Male, Mr. I carry the team.
Yes. Jonathan is the textbook definition of coasting on physical threat level and entirely fake swagger. He spent the first half of this episode aggressively taking all the credit for Dee's blindside, puffing his chest out.
So annoying.
But when the actual game shifted, when the double duo twist dropped and complex game theory was required, he was completely, utterly invisible. His core alliance coach and Chrissy got decapitated right in front of him, and he did absolutely nothing to stop it.
Wait, yeah, he really did nothing.
He didn't scramble, he didn't strategize, he didn't pitch an alternative, he just sat there. He is coasting on the fact that people are instinctively afraid of him in challenges, but strategically, he is entirely vacant.
Vacant, yes. The lights are on, the electricity is running, but nobody is home. He is just a very large, muscular piece of beach furniture at this point.
Exactly. Okay, final segment. Segment 4. Would you lace fee again? Last 3 days. Be brutally honest with me. Not even the full game. Not 26 days. 3 days. 72 hours. Could you do it?
Yeah.
Let's debate.
I am spiraling just thinking about it. 3 days. Babes, 3 days without my massive crumble cookies. Without my highly specific iced coffee order. Without my multi-step evening skincare routine, looking at 2,000 coconuts in the blazing sun while sand fleas eat my ankles.
I'm picturing you on Exile Island right now, trying to negotiate with the coconuts.
I would quit on the boat right in. I wouldn't even make it to the actual beach. The minute Jeff Probst pointed at me and said, jump off the boat and swim to shore, I would look at him and say, actually, Jeff, I left my oven on at home. I really need to go. Call an Uber.
You wouldn't even try.
I'd be crying in the sand by hour 4. I deeply hate being sweaty. I hate bugs. I absolutely hate being hungry. I am built for comfortable, ergonomic dentist chairs and central air conditioning, not bamboo and well water.
It's true. You have a notoriously low tolerance for even mild everyday discomfort.
Excuse me. I survived the eel tongue patient today.
Barely. Now I think I could last 3 days.
Oh, really? Mr. Survivalist. Are you going to build a fire with your glasses?
Not because of any actual survival skills. I have 0 outdoor skills. I could last 3 days purely out of spite.
Spite. Of course.
I would be so incredibly relentlessly annoying. I would just complain sarcastically about every single thing production did. I would openly critique the structural integrity of the shelter building. I would mock the safety hazards of the challenge design.
Oh my God, they would hate you.
I would complain so much and be so relentlessly shady that the rest of the tribe would universally, unanimously agree to vote me out on day 3 just to get some peace and quiet.
You would be the first boot for being an absolute menace to society.
Exactly. I would force my own exit through sheer concentrated obnoxiousness. But let's be real about the physical toll. The heat index in Fiji is no joke. It actively degrades your bodily systems. The lack of REM sleep. The fact that you were sitting on granular sand 24 hours a day. Sand gets everywhere. It creates friction. You can never truly be clean.
No tequila pineapples to take the edge off.
Yeah.
No ergonomic chairs. Just raw, unfiltered suffering and psychological manipulation. You know what? The consensus is abundantly clear. We belong exactly where we are.
Safely behind a microphone. Indoors.
Exactly. On a microphone, in air conditioning, with an adult beverage in hand, judging people who are significantly stronger, braver, and hungrier than us. That is our truest calling in life.
We are fulfilling our destiny.
We really are. Okay, let's wrap this up. Because my crumble sugar crash is definitely approaching at lightning speed, and I need to emotionally recover from Coach quoting Sigmund Freud on national television. To summarize this beautiful, chaotic mess, we are still deeply confused why we are perpetually trapped in the tax haven that is Fiji.
Tax breaks and production laziness.
Yeah.
A lethal combination.
The survival delusion of these castaways is at an absolute all-time high, with Jonathan and Coach genuinely thinking they are strategic gods, while Mother Cirie quietly, expertly dismantles their entire existence with a smile.
A true masterclass in covert influence.
We are finding deep spiritual happiness in our tequila buzzes, and we are heavily questioning the structural integrity and caloric chaos of the crumble cookie.
1,000 calories. 1,000. I will never, ever forget that.
So, Snark Squad, we turn it over to you. Slide into the DMs and answer these questions for us. First, would you get tired of paradise? Be honest. Could you actually handle the perpetual sunburn and the sand fleas?
Second question. What is your absolute survivor breaking point? Is it the bugs? Is it the starvation? Or is it literally just Coach singing a made-up haiku at you from a hammock while you were trying to mentally process a blindside?
Honestly, the haiku would break my spirit faster than the hunger. And finally, babes, crumble. Is it worth the hype, or is it a complete sugary scam? We need your unfiltered hot takes. Send them to us immediately. Remind yourselves to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening on.
And please, send submissions of your own dental or workplace horror stories. We need to know we aren't the only ones dealing with rogue tongues and off-key singing in the sterile environments.
Yes. Trauma bond with us. And do us a huge favor, send this episode directly to that one specific friend of yours who actually genuinely thinks they could win Survivor. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Humble them.
bring them violently back to reality.
Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for showing up, for drinking with us, and for spiraling with us. We love you. Before we officially go, wait, expert survival analyst over here, you had one last thought.
Yes. I want to drop a final, highly analytical bomb for you to think about.
Oh, God, what? My brain is already full.
Think about this. Devens perfectly executed that fake idol lie tonight. He told everyone the idol was powerless because it wasn't snuck out. He created the perfect psychological shield. Everyone bought it. The lie is cemented as absolute truth in their minds.
Right.
But what if? What if Devens actually finds the real hidden immunity idol next week?
Oh, my God, wait.
Think about the game mechanics. Everyone already thinks he has a powerless fake idol that he snuck out incorrectly. If he finds the real one, no one will suspect he has actual, tangible power. He could literally control the entire game, manipulating votes by publicly flashing the fake one, drawing votes to himself, while sitting entirely safe on the real one as an ultimate insurance policy. He could run the entire board with a lie and a truth simultaneously, and no one would ever see it coming until it was too late.
Babes, the drama potential. My mind is literally blown. If he pulls that off, he wins the season. Period. I am so stressed, but so incredibly excited for next week. Stay shaded.
She's spiraling.
And we'll see you next week on the Snark Side.